The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who, he gets weirded out by Mr. Mimes. Welcome, Jacob.
Well, who wouldn't? Let's be honest here. It's like, come on, just tell me what you know. Why, thank you. Let me introduce our co-host, a man who has had a long day, just needs a cup of coffee, or 10, or 20, or maybe an entire pot. Welcome, Drew.
Only if it's got a good shot of chocolate,
Oy.
if we're being honest.
I gotcha.
Also joining us today is a man who, unfortunately, we've had a little hard time getting to hear because there's some sort of interference. I'm not sure if it is. Josh, are you there? I'm not sure what this is. Deela, you have any idea what's going on? Wait, what, say that again? You're saying an Eevee is talking to us?
Huh?
But you can translate. How can you translate? Okay, you've got a point where your sound effects came from. Okay, fine. Well, then go ahead and start translating for us, Deela.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
finally. Okay, guys, I've had a hard time.
Okay,
Yeah.
you've got a little bit of explaining to
do
do.
tell.
I mean,
Okay.
there was an Eevee on the call a minute ago.
Yeah, why do you sound like a Pokemon?
Why is Deela having to translate you?
Okay, so you remember back in like February, whenever y'all didn't invite me onto the wrestling movie.
My apologies once again for that, but it was a preset deal.
And so I got invited to some company in Rhyme City. He was like, "Hey, I want you to test my new technology." I was like, "Oh, cool. I like helping people." He put this weird thing on my head. It activated. Next thing I knew, I'm an Eevee.
You're an Eevee.
I'm an Eevee.
That's interesting.
Okay, I've got some suggestions for you before this goes much farther. Stay away from any evolutionary stones.
It's a good idea. I've been
Agreed there.
Also, make sure you're not making too much friendship during either the sun or the night. That could go one of two ways. That could be
True.
trouble.
Yeah.
Stay away from any grass, any moss stones or ice stones. You don't want to level up there. That would cause you more trouble.
I haven't been getting into many battles, thankfully.
That's good.
Yeah.
I know there's not many battles in Rhyme City. The one
Except the underground stuff.
The one that's going to be worse for y'all is going to be is if you somehow... I still don't get how this works outside of that one game. You get enough hearts and somehow turn into Sylveon?
Yeah, that's...
I don't know how that works outside of that one.
I think I actually have
game.
to have a trainer for that. But
yes, you might want to stay away from that. We don't need you going magical girl on us.
No, yeah, don't do that.
That would be weird. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a little more. That'd be a bit odd.
So, any idea how much longer you're going to be stuck as an Eevee in Rhyme City?
I don't know. I think I heard them saying something about like another hour or so. It's weird.
Okay. Even
I don't know.
Well, interesting.
Hmm.
Well, before we go too much farther, we do need to answer our trivia question
Yes.
for this week, which was, how many years is there between Pokemon Detective Pikachu and Pokemon the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back? Jacob, do you know the answer to this?
I think it's like 20 years, I think.
Maybe. Josh?
I will stick with what I said when I answered it, which it's really hard to type with these little paws, but I said 22 years, I believe, or something like that.
Y'all are
20
both,
years. 20 years, yeah.
Y'all are both close because the line in the movie literally says less than 20.
Oh, okay. So less than 20.
less than 20 years since he was caught in Kanto.
So 1820.
19,
And I think it's probably
19,
closer to 18 because he was he cloned in Kanto from Mew, and there's probably a year between when he was cloned and when he escaped and Mewtwo Strikes Back,
something like that.
So so probably closer to like 18 years maybe.
Yeah,
just to play it safe. But to go through what people actually answered, Stephanie Russell says, if you mean canonically in the lore timeline, I think it takes place within the same 2 or 3-ish years. No, there's at least 20 years because Ash is not in this movie at all.
Or is
Thankfully.
he?
No, he's not.
Oh, he isn't? Okay.
He isn't. They intentionally... This is not something I included in the trivia, but Game Freak specifically requested that Ash not be in this movie in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, okay.
They didn't want to mess with anything canonically with that storyline.
Oh, okay.
Paul J. Powers says, which apparently it's today's, the day we're recording this, it's his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Paul.
He says, I thought you meant in Pikachu's world. How much time passed between the end of the first movie and him becoming a detective? Well, if that was your answer, that would be a month.
Something like that. Pika?
No, I read that wrong. That wouldn't be a month. It'd still be nearly 20 years. Because it's a different Pikachu, too.
It is different Pikachu.
Ashley Cronenbetter says 21 years. She says she remembers the first feature film coming out in 1998 and the other coming out in 2019. She asked if she was close. You're close.
Close.
B. Sheffield said, oof, I remember watching the original when I was only 3, but I know it came out before I was born, and I know Detective Pikachu came out in 2019.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say 21 years, maybe 20, give or take a couple months.
You're making people
B,
feel old.
it made me feel really old because I remember when this came out when I was in high school. The original one.
Oh my gosh.
Stephanie Russell also guessed 25, and then Paul J. Powers said more than one.
More than one?
So yeah, Paul at the very last went straight to the Price is Right answer of guessing the lowest possible number in hopes that nobody would pass him. Which technically he got. So congratulations, Paul J. Powers.
Yay,
you technically won because you're the only one to guess less than 20.
Oh, man. Man, that's awesome.
So, Jacob, how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. Weekend was pretty good. Went on a date with a girlfriend. Went to...
Lucky dog.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
No, let me rephrase. Lucky Growlith.
Row. Either way, great time. Week's been pretty good so far. Me and Ashley, my girlfriend, are going to go to Dallas to go watch a Stars game this Saturday. And looking forward to that. It's going to be fun.
Okay.
Other than that, it's doing this, work, and church, and all that.
Okie dokie.
What have you been up to?
You're looking at it.
So sitting here all day.
No, not quite. Sometimes I'm on the beanbag chair that Stitch is on right now.
So you're a couch potato.
Not quite. I mean, it's been a busy week because I'm currently doing long days.
Yes.
And literally a lot of times I get off work and I immediately go do the other thing I would normally be doing that night. And then I come home and watch one of the things I've been watching, Power Rangers, because it allows my brain to rest. But other than that,
yeah,
I'll just go ahead and, well, no, I'm not going to go into it. I haven't been doing a whole lot. Josh, what have you been doing while you've been stuck in Rhyme City as an Eevee?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thankfully, somehow I'm able to watch stuff from back home still. Don't ask me how that works.
He props up his phone on the ledge, just looks at it.
Exactly, yeah.
Thankfully, Eevee Paws can operate a touch screen.
Yes.
Exactly. So, I mean, I haven't been doing much. This weekend watched a whole bunch of wrestling because it was WrestleMania.
Yes, I heard about that.
We won't talk about my feelings on the show. I will put it this way: one of the
Did
nights
this-
was much
did-
better than the previous one.
Did the muscularly sweaty soap opera make you have feelings?
It did.
Oh, dude.
I mean, with the best part of the weekend, of course, being Friday night. Yeah, Friday night with the Hall of Fame ceremony, watching
Hmm.
a wrestler I watched for many, many years get inducted into the Hall of Fame after his 30-year career.
Mm-hmm.
Because Friday night is a good night for fighting.
Yes.
Well, I mean, there was no fighting on that show. This was
Of
purely
course.
Hall of Fame.
Oh, of course.
But for anyone wondering, yes, it was The Undertaker. Very iconic name in wrestling.
I'm sure he took some stuff under.
Yeah.
Oh, he did. He took a lot of stuff under.
Yes. This shows how much I know about
Wrestling.
wrestling.
I enjoy wrestling for the pure fact knowing that it's fiction, knowing that these are very.
Don't tell him that.
Sorry, spoiler alert.
What do you mean fiction?
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah,
you know how he is.
Yeah, Pika. I don't know, but either way,
Jacob is literally going to be in the dark all night long.
Next, you're going to tell me that Delibird's not real.
How else is Santa Claus going to get his gifts to all the little boys and girls?
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that Digimon's better than Pokemon.
Oh, here we go again.
We don't need to get into this. It still reminds me we need to do that little side episode thing we talked about.
Yes, we do at some point.
At some point, explaining the differences for those who don't know between Pokemon and Digimon, because there are differences.
Yes,
a lot of differences. Oh, you think you know it, D-Lit? Okay, I guess, D-Lit, that is fair. You did nearly get us trampled to death by Seadramon.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
And yet you talk in Pokemon sound effects, or Game Boy Pokemon sound effects over here.
Yeah. And you can translate an Eevee, which is my cousin.
I'm sorry, could you say that again, D-Lit? It was the fastest thing I could find, D-Lit, to get you to talk. I'm sorry. It's not my fault I'm the only one who can understand you.
That should be nice.
She says, hush, Jacob.
Oh.
Rough.
Down, boy.
Okay, thankfully he didn't say the other thing.
What, sit, boy?
It's like, seriously, guys, come on!
Anyway... I have been watching, like I said earlier, I've been watching some Power Rangers. Of course, watched Detective Pikachu.
Mm.
Also started a new television show last Wednesday called Moon Knight.
Oh, yeah.
That was a very good episode.
It was odd, but it was good.
Okay, so you are actually keeping up.
I did. Yes, I'm doing the nerdy thing and watching the first episode when it comes out.
You should be watching all of it. It's not that hard to keep up. In fact, it's harder when you get behind to get caught up.
That is true. That is so
but
true.
anyway,
either or.
Keep up with Mandalorian. I'm just saying.
Oh, you mean Grogu and Friends?
Exactly.
Because that's what the Star Wars shows have been so far, is Grogu and Friends, which I'm fine with if we're going to be honest. I'm curious how they're going to work Grogu into Obi-Wan.
They'll find a way.
He'll show up somehow.
He's got to be saved somehow from Order 66.
That is true.
So maybe that's what Obi-Wan is doing. Why he has to leave the planet.
Everything detours to Grogu.
That's at this point. Also saw a rather dark movie Friday night.
Yeah.
About a certain vampire who was fighting Matt Smith, which is the opposite of how normally Doctor Who goes, because it's usually the Doctor has to stop the vampires, not the vampires turning Doctor Who into another vampire.
Spoiler alert.
Yes, Matt Smith is playing the villain.
Yes.
The movie is Morbius, which a lot of people have poo-pooed on. I'm going to say there are a lot worse Marvel movies that have been made that people are obviously forgetting. One of them I watched Saturday. The original Howard the Duck.
Oh, jeez. I remember watching it as a kid.
I feel stupider for having watched it. I feel like I have lost brain cells.
Where did you watch it?
I rented it on Apple TV.
Oh, fun.
For $5 that I'll never get back.
First time I watched that movie was at church.
What?
How?
There just
It had to have been the censored version because there is full duck nudity in that movie.
No, there was no. It wasn't like during Sunday school or anything. It was like in between services or something.
Oh, okay.
Still, it would have had to have been like the edited for TV version.
Yeah, and knowing the pastor of that church,
he didn't know about it.
He does now.
You're assuming that he listens to the podcast.
You never know.
You never know who's listening. You'll know if next time you talk to him. He wonders how on earth you've turned into one of those devil Pokemon.
Send the link immediately to Mike Aaron.
So because you gotta remember, Pokemon was like at the tail end of the Satanic Panic.
That is true.
It was
very true.
Which I don't even remember this. I only have heard about it afterwards.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Of course, I've been playing some Final Fantasy 14 as normal.
Right.
Dragon Quest 11 on Monday nights on the stream. Just finally got to where a certain knight finally joins the party. Kind of saying this for Josh's benefit since he wasn't in the stream last night. Apparently, because he was turned into an Eevee.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
It's kind of hard to control a gaming controller when he's got paws.
He doesn't have to watch a gaming controller. It's just he probably had a hard time talking in chat.
Yeah, exactly.
Would be my guess.
You know how hard it is to type with little paws?
I imagine it's very tough.
It's really difficult, guys.
The struggle is real.
Yeah. I also on Saturday I made it all the way to Monster Town and Super Mario RPG. So you know, very very soon I'll be getting close to a certain cameo of 5 multicolored characters, or certain reference to those that may have something to do with what I've been watching a lot of recently.
Maybe
the big bad Beetleborgs.
Yes,
exactly.
There are. I mean, Beatles have made so many other appearances in this game already. It would only make sense that they'd continue it. The big bad Beetle Axums.
BR Axums.
BR Axums. Braxums for short.
Braxum. Okay.
Anyway.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
This is getting silly now.
You think?
Jacob, what have you been watching?
Okay. So over at Bible study, we normally do on Sunday night, we watched a little more of Konosuba. Hilarious, not for kids at all.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
So I finished watching this. This was a disappointment to me. So I'm watching Transformers Prime on Netflix. I love Transformers Prime. Just amazing storytelling. And so I get to the end of season 1. It leaves on this really great cliffhanger. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but
there is no season 2.
There's no season 2 on Netflix. There's 3 seasons of this. I've watched it all.
And it's not on that. And it ends naturally on a cliffhanger. Or you said this was the end of season 1.
The end of
and they don't have season 2 or 3, which do exist on there.
Correct.
Okay, Netflix, you need to get back on the ball.
Exactly. You know, Transformer rollout. Get it out there. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a show that came out in the early aughts of the 2000s, and I just love it. It's a really, really cool show. It's called Kim Possible. It's on Disney Plus. I've always liked the show. I thought it was really cool.
And we reviewed the movie back
a
year ago.
Absolutely. Go check that one on the archives. You want to go listen to that one.
Like it was January of 2021 is where we did it, along with a bunch of other Disney Toon Studio
That's
movies.
right. Yeah. That's right.
Actually, I think we specifically called it. No, it was Disney Toon because we had some stuff that was not Disney Channel original. But anyway.
Right. So yeah, I'll watch that. I think I'm currently going through season 1. It's really good. Also, I watched Moon Knight on Disney Plus. That was really interesting. It was a bit odd. not knowing any of the lore or anything, and just watching strictly from a movie, from a television standpoint, it's interesting. It's very unique how they do the character and the multiple personalities he has.
Yeah, I appreciate how they only followed the story from one of those multiple personalities,
Mm-hmm.
and you were just as confused as he was when he would randomly wake up
Exactly.
in the middle of in a cupcake truck.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, where am I?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the stupid one's back.
Yeah.
I love that. That was great. But so yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed Moon Knight, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow night watching it when I get back from church.
All right. So, Jacob, I believe it's time for the interrogation.
Yes. All right. So,
Oh, you want me to start?
yeah, lead up.
Okay. Josh, we are very much aware, especially since you're an Eevee right now,
Yeah.
that you are a Pokemon fan.
No, just a little bit.
Yes,
You
just a
see, you see
little
that little
bit.
hat on top of its head?
Yes. Yeah, its head. I like that.
Yeah, its head.
So, any
still
Pokemon fan has to be aware that a game is coming out later this year. A main series game is coming out later this year, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Which raises two questions. First off, are you going Scarlet or Violet?
Oh, Violet. There's never a question in my mind. My favorite color is finally a Pokemon game. Come on.
Your favorite color being purple.
Exactly.
All right, just wanted to make sure. Which then brings us to the other question that any aspiring Pokemon gamer has to be asking right now, since we do know who our three starters are. Are you going with Sprigatito, Fuecoco, or Quaxley as your starter Pokemon?
Right. I have no idea who these characters
Oh,
are.
let me answer that. The Sprigatito is a grass cat Pokemon.
Meow.
Is a grass type, and it weighs about 9 pounds and is about a foot tall.
Oh, okay. Ferocious grass kitty.
Yes. Fuecoco is kind of a lizard, a crocodile, fire crocodile thing.
Wow.
He's about a foot tall and weighs 21 pounds. So he's a heavy guy.
Mm.
And then Quaxley is a water duck and looks suspiciously like Donald.
Yes.
Which means I really do hope he casts magic type attacks and can't heal, because that would just be on par. But he weighs 13 pounds and is about a foot at 1 foot 8 inches tall.
Wow. Okay.
So between those three, Josh, who's your starter?
Really?
Because you had to have thought about it since
I've
it was announced.
thought about it. It is still kind of a toss-up for me between Sprigatito and Quaxley.
Understandable.
Mostly because I love cats. So
Understandable.
I want to go with that. But at the same time, Quaxley is just such a great name.
Quaxley.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I can see this.
Very unique.
I haven't really made my decision either. I'm leaning towards Sprigatito because, cat Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the concept of Quaxley. I'm not really too hip right now on Fuecoco. But a lot of my decision's going to I think is going to have to wait until I at least get an idea as to what they evolve into later on.
Right.
Because if we get another wrestling cat, I may not be happy. Because that would be the third time.
That'd be right up Josh's alley.
It'd only be the second time it's been a wrestling cat.
True. I suspect we're going to get another. The Gator is going to be a firefighting combo, because they love that combination. But depending on where they go with Sprigatito, I may go Sprigatito.
Ah,
and it has been a long time since I've done a grass type.
Oh, okay. I'd just be like, just based on this information, I know exactly who I'd pick. Exactly. Right on the money. I know exactly who's it's going to be. Drum roll, please.
I bet it's Agumon.
Gabumon!
You were close.
I was close.
You were close. You were close. Either way.
Anywho, Deela expresses her disdain for your choice.
Yeesh.
Ooh.
Apparently, she also wishes to be the very best, like no one ever was.
Okay.
No, she didn't say that. I'm assuming.
You're assuming she said that. Okay.
And apparently, I assumed correctly.
Ah, okay.
So, anyway.
All right. So, going back to interrogation. All right. So, ever since you are a huge Pokemon fan, what series have you watched most of the series?
Not
Or are
really.
you just more just a gamer?
I'm more into the games than the anime. I kind of fell off the anime when they never got rid of Ash.
Yeah, and they're never
That-
going to
That
now.
is true. It's their icon character, except Pikachu.
Well, I
Right.
mean, he's lasted. He's a
20
12-year-old
years.
who has 20 years of experience.
That is
Sir,
true.
sir.
Oh
So
my
he
gosh.
is literally what
He-
every
he-
employer is looking for right now.
He
That
is
is
still canonically 10.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, that'd be a nightmare. A tween
How-
for 20 years.
but here's the problem I have with that canonical thing about him still being. You say 10, I still think he's 12. But that means
Episode 1 of Black and White, they said 10-year-old Ash Ketchum.
that's bullcrap. I'm sorry. Somebody wasn't paying attention to the script, but that does mean that by all technical accounts, Ash has gone through the Indigo League, the Orange Island League, Johto League, the Hoenn
Hoenn.
League, the
Sinnoh.
Sinnoh, yeah, the Unova League, the what is 6? I love
Kalos.
6. Kalos, the Kalos League, the Alolan League. I assume they still did Alolan League before he got all that. Before he won his first in 1 year, at least 1 year, and it took him that long to finally figure out how to actually
Win.
win a Pokemon tournament.
Hmm.
So yeah, he did learn in a year, but at the same time, he went through 7 tournaments to do it.
Okay, so here's a real question.
Oh yeah, he technically did win the Orange Island League, but that doesn't count.
All right, so I saw your hat and wanted to say something else, but I'm not going to. All right, so Josh, what is your favorite animated movie?
Of all time?
Yeah, all time.
Period.
What is it? Period.
Probably Lion King.
Lion King. Okay.
It's
All
just
right,
the
so what
first
is
thing
your
that
favorite
pops into my
Pokemon?
head. Eevee, which is
Eevee. Okay,
fortuitous.
That makes sense considering everything right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, say if you were transported into the land of the Lion King with your Eevee or as an Eevee, how do you think you would fare?
He'd probably
Well, I
get
mean,
eaten.
Considering I'm a little fox, going up against lions, I don't think I'd last very long.
Probably not.
Not as a normal type.
tiger.
I
No.
mean, if,
Now,
I,
if
if
you-
I was to evolve first, I could probably hold my own. But
Okay, which of the evolutions would you prefer to go up against Simba?
are we talking cubs?
No,
Simba,
let me
or
change that.
adults,
Mufasa.
Yeah.
Up against Mufasa?
Yeah.
I'd probably want to be Glaceon, just freeze him in his tracks.
That would definitely throw him for a loop.
A little bit.
I'll grant you. Of course, that's like outside of Sylveon, that is the most effeminate of the evolutions.
I can't help it if my two favorite ones are Glaceon and Sylveon.
Fair
Hmm.
enough.
Fair enough,
I
enough.
like Sylveon also. I'm just saying that you want to be careful because you may end up having to let it go.
Ready row. Ready row.
Oh, I walked into that one.
Yes, you did. All right,
I mean, she does kind of Sylveon. Glaceon does kind of look like Elsa
mm,
in
Yeah.
fox form.
yeah.
Anyway,
So, say if you and your Eevee were sitting at a coffee bar, you were sitting at a coffee bar. What kind of coffee would you drink for you and your Eevee?
It'd be something kind of like flavored, sweet, something like hazelnut.
Okay,
Something like that.
interesting. Nothing cold.
I'd probably
Frost-
depends on my mood, the weather, that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
okay, gotcha. I gotcha. So you're not like
don't
Pikachu who just drinks coffee all the time. Gotta drink coffee.
No.
Coffee.
I just want to say this right here and right now. I do not understand the concept of cold coffee in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, you
Coffee needs
you've never
to,
had a good frat then.
coffee needs to be so warm you can't taste the coffee.
Or your tongue.
Yes.
Ah.
Coffee smells good. To me, it does not taste
Ugh.
good.
I'm the
Or
opposite.
you gotta have chocolate in it.
The opposite.
I do
Ugh.
love me a good cafe mocha
Oh, okay.
with a little bit of cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
Anyway,
So I think that's the end of the interrogation.
all right. Well, you survived there, Josh Yon.
Just barely.
Yes.
I know what the cover is now.
Oh,
Jacob's going to be designing his own Pokemon based off that one silly joke.
and that one silly thing might end up being my profile picture.
Just maybe. I'll
Jacob's
probably send it to you
permission.
early.
You got to give him the original, in all fairness.
Probably.
Anyway,
Anyways.
what do we got in the news?
All right. Not a whole lot.
Outside of our co-host being turned into a Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. That's newsworthy anyway. All right. So I got this bit of news from one of our listeners, Heather Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently Netflix is debut their first trailer, released the voice cast roster and premiere date of the upcoming animated feature, the Sea Beast.
The kaiju movie.
Yes,
that it was suggested by a certain person connected to another certain podcast that we should join them on that at some point,
really,
but not the actual person who is on the runs the podcast.
Oh, okay.
One of the side characters.
Oh,
One I was very glad didn't punch me in the face for landing on
Mothra's
egg.
That'd be fun. All right, so yes, this has been directed and produced by Chris Williams. He's also known for Mulan, Big Hero 6, and Bolt. It's a CG animated feature. We'll be making waves on July 8th.
Okay.
And that's literally all the bit of news I had.
Oh, this is a short news cycle then,
Yeah,
because I
short
don't
news
think I
cycle.
have anything either right now.
No.
So why don't we go ahead and
I know a little bit of sad news.
Well, go right ahead.
Hey, what's that?
I'd have to look at her name here. It's like Estelle Harris, the lady that voiced Mrs.
Oh
Potato
yeah,
Head,
I did remember reading that. Yeah.
in the
Hey,
Toy Story
wait, who did she
movies.
voice? I couldn't hear over Jacob.
Mrs. Potato Head.
Oh yes,
And,
Mrs. Potato Head.
Yeah, she
In the
did
Toy
pass away.
Story
That's right.
movies, unfortunately passed away on the 2nd, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was sad to hear that.
So there is that bit of sadness.
There is a little bit of a sad beat there, but thank you, Josh, for
Yes.
chiming in on that one.
I'm glad you're still getting the news down there in Rhyme City.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not much to do. I pretty much look at news and watch stuff all day.
He's gonna watch
Right.
out for the Pokemon muggers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I assume he's at least in his hotel room.
One would hope.
Yeah, it's thankfully I'm in a hotel room, not in a Pokeball. Those don't.
Yes.
Yeah,
look
that would be
comfortable.
uncomfortable.
There's not a talk of a parade, is there?
Oh no!
No.
Stay away! Stay away!
I mean, I think I did
Or
hear
at least
something
warn
about
somebody.
a parade, but
Okay.
All right, so yeah, that's all I have for info and stuff.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and jump into the spoiler-free section of our review of this? And since Joshion over there is our guest, why don't you go ahead and give us your spoiler-free thoughts on this movie first?
this movie, I remember when I first heard about it, and I was like, a live-action Pokemon movie? Oh, that could be good.
Yeah.
Seeing the first trailers, I was like, oh, okay, this does look really good. And then hearing Pikachu's voice the first time especially caught me off guard.
Maybe a little bit.
I did not expect that voice to come out of Pikachu, ever.
Understandable.
It's
But yeah,
Deadpool!
Pikachu is
exactly.
very odd.
Yes!
But, having, after watching, it's like, it just fits. It works.
Mhm.
But, yeah, the movie is fantastic, especially if you're a Pokemon fan and someone that's been a fan as long as I have for the full, what is it now, 25 years or so.
Yes.
Yeah, we're coming up on 25 years.
Yeah.
that it's been out because I've been playing Pokemon since Red and Blue when they first came out here in the States back in like 1998.
Yeah.
So getting to finally see these characters that I grew up with uh, in live action, getting to see what they may actually look like if they were real, is a lot of fun. And if you're a Pokemon fan, go watch.
All right. So when I first heard that they were making a live action Pokemon movie, I was interested because it's like, well, that could be good if done right. I mean, it is a video game movie, and those do have a reputation of not being good. So there was that little bit of worry, but eventually, somebody has to hit it out of the park. And then I found out that they were basing it on Detective Pikachu, the video game. And I thought, that's an interesting choice. I mean, still, I have not yet played Detective Pikachu, so I have no idea how accurate to the show or accurate to the game this movie is. But I remember thinking, this thing just came out, and you're already making a movie based on it? Because Detective Pikachu, I think, came out in 2015,
something like that.
It's on the 3DS, so it's relatively recent, all things considered. So I was a little surprised at that. And I remember thinking this had to be a bit of a joke. This had to be like an April Fool's joke, is what I was literally thinking. Until that one E3 where they showed like the signage of Rhyme City, and I go, "Oh, you are doing this." And then in one of my Facebook groups, they happened to be in London where they filmed this when they were shooting, and actually had pictures of different parts of the movie.
Nice.
So it's like, okay, this is real. You are actually making this to some degree. I am excited, and I'm also worried. Bear in mind, somewhere in here, we had seen the first version of Sonic the Hedgehog's model. And I was a little concerned about that, especially since it took them so long for them to show us an actual version of what these Pokemon looked like in the trailers. And then I got worried even still a little bit more because they reminded me of that realistic artwork I had seen on DeviantArt that, well, it reminded me of that realistic Mario head that just makes you go, is what the artwork I was thinking. And then I remember thinking, okay, this is reminiscent of that artwork. That's an interesting choice. It does, admittedly, you are trying to make realistic looking fictional animals where they are still matching the design, the artwork of the original artwork. Well, not the original artwork, because if you've ever seen the original red and green sprites, because those are hot garbage.
Yeah, those are.
But based on the artwork of all these Pokemon, I'm thinking, I see what you're doing, but this art style is gonna have to grow on me. And so I was a little hesitant till I saw it in theaters in 2019. I literally went opening day because I didn't want anything to color my viewing of it other than the movie itself. And I think that was the last time I saw a movie in what's now Apex before they remodeled.
Yeah. Did you mention that on the show?
I mentioned it on the show and said this was an amazing movie. I still say it's an amazing movie, but I do have some issues with it that we'll get to.
It only took us 3 years to do a review over it.
Well, I mean, there's still some stuff that we have not got back to.
Oh, that is true.
Since that first season. So
that is so true.
Yeah. So that I enjoyed this movie. I really hope if you have any interest in Pokemon and still for some reason have not gone and gotten this, I'm going to tell you, go get it. Even if you are not into Pokemon, I think you should go give it a shot if you like animated movies, or even just like kids movies. Because I think this is just a good general kids movie. Even if somehow Pokemon had not existed prior to this movie, I think it would have worked. So I really enjoyed it, even on that level. So those are my thoughts. Jacob?
Okay, so I remember this movie coming out. We just launched the podcast. I remember seeing trailers for it. And it's like, okay, that looks interesting. I'm not a Pokemon fan. I like some of what they're doing. They're again having real big understanding. Like, I know Josh was a big Pokemon fan. I knew Drew was to an extent. So just my general understanding, it's okay, this looks good. I never saw it in theaters. I never saw it when it came out in its format release. And yeah, this is the first time watching this film, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved it for its storytelling, its artistic style, going back to film noir, gumshoe, detective type shows back in the 30s and 40s that were just like the atmosphere of the movie is just it's like just palpable. And if I remember correctly, the movie it's actually shot on film.
Yeah, it's actually shot on 35 millimeter.
Yeah, which is amazing. Which is like, whoa, they actually shot this. It's not digital. This is really cool. But overall,
I think that actually helps the design.
It does.
Anyway.
It does. Because you get all the grains and pops and everything.
Makes it feel a little bit more real.
Exactly. Unlike most films nowadays. So
although Sonic does it without the 35 millimeter and it works fine.
It does.
For that look.
I agree. I completely agree. Can't wait to watch Sonic 2. We're going to do a reaction to that, right?
Yes. This weekend.
More days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait for that. So either way, thoroughly enjoyed the film. I would definitely highly recommend anybody go watch it. So I'd be like, if you are a Pokemon fan, if you're not, if you're just a film guy like me or an animation guy like I am, even though this is a live action hybrid, it's done very well. It's a very well done story. You get this this kind of a road of discovery kind of movie, and there's nice little twists and turns that be like, if you know what you're looking for, you can see it. But it's a nice movie. It's very wonderfully made. And I'll get into some other more sad things that may not be coming down the pipeline in info and stuff later on. But overall, would definitely highly recommend this film to anybody who be like, now granted, some people might be just be like, oh, I don't like Pokemon whatsoever. Okay, that's fine. Watch it for the film. It's it's shot very well.
It's a good story.
Yeah, it's a good story.
You don't have to know anything about Pokemon to enjoy the story.
Yeah. And so
it helps.
Oh, yeah, it does help.
Because you'll catch all the references if you know anything about Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm sitting there. It's like, oh, okay. What's this little creature here? What's this creature doing? Oh, that's a Squirtle. Oh, okay, that's what it is. Okay.
Yes, that's why they're putting out fires with water gun.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah.
They're literally firefighting.
Yeah.
Despite there being water turtles.
That is weird. That is very weird. But either way, I thought it was very well done. Definitely the animation in this movie is just top tier. It's like, what the? Definitely we get what is it? Charmander the dragon?
Charizard.
That's his name. Charizard. Be like when Pikachu goes looking at him, it's like, oh my gosh, he looks like a dragon with a fire tail.
Except he's not a dragon type, which still annoys me to this very day.
When he mega evolves.
Yeah, but you don't get to mega evolve anymore.
That's true.
We haven't got to do that since Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, which is annoying.
But according to Death Battle, what is it? Death Battle?
Death Battle is the thing I think you're thinking of.
Yeah. The YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Agumon would have kicked his butt. Let's just say that.
Well, they've
shown
that
they're very Agumon. That is like so stinking cheating.
No, it's War Greymon.
Still,
let's be fair.
That is 4 evolutionary steps.
Let's be fair.
Digiball steps.
Still evolutionary steps. We need to have this discussion.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Let's be
That'd be
fair.
fun.
Those are the same people that somehow got it in their heads that Princess Peach would beat Princess Zelda. Which, no.
Either or. I thought it'd be funny to bring
I
it
can
up.
somewhat follow the logic, even though I've not watched the video. I still think Goku could beat Superman's butt, but
Definitely.
they've explained 3 different times how
days
that's
a
not
week.
possible, but I don't care either.
All right, so either or, be like, yes, I would highly recommend this movie to anybody who loves film, loves animation, or you're a Pokemon fan. Go watch it. Go pick it up. Go rent it. Whatever. Don't go steal it off the internet. Go buy it legally. No piracy. Arr.
Don't
Okay,
get Team
before we
Rocket.
jump into the bumpers, I want to point out that this is like one of a bunch of different films that have done this hybrid 2D, live action 3D thing that have come out in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
We've actually had a lot more than recent.
Mhm.
You got Sonic the Hedgehog. You got what was something else that came out, and I can't think of it right now. You had Space Jam.
Yeah, Space Jam recently came out.
Space Jam recently came out. Tom and Jerry came out.
Oy.
I'm gonna say of all of these movies, I think, I'm including Sonic the Hedgehog in here.
Yeah.
Having not seen Sonic 2, this could change things, admittedly, because it's been a couple years, so the tech has probably evolved, and plus they're actually shot it with the right model in mind this time.
The first time.
I think this movie does the hybrid version, but it's the best hybrid movie I think that's come out in the last 5 years.
I would agree with you on that. I definitely agree with you.
Yeah.
But like Sonic,
give you an idea.
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog is very well done.
Yeah,
but if you're talking more realistic, grounded movies, it definitely goes with Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
I mean, if we're talking about movies that include both live action and animated elements that I don't really consider hybrid films because, well, I'm sorry, I don't consider Avengers or Guardians of the Galaxy hybrid movies because for the most part, those are one or two characters in a room full of live action people.
Yeah.
I can't really consider Groot and Rocket live action characters because animated characters, even though they are technically animated.
That's true.
But I would say even including them, those movies in there, I think Pokemon does do a lot better job of keeping everything looking cohesive than even Infinity War and Endgame did. But that's also very strange to say because of how well Infinity War and Endgame did.
That is so true.
So anyway, also Shang-Chi now that I think about it, because it had a lot of fictional creatures in it also.
I still haven't seen it. I need to watch it.
You need to. It's actually a good movie.
Yeah. It's sitting on my shelf.
Anyway, we need to hit the bumpers so we can, we're not paying the bills, but you know what I mean. So,
that I can start paying the bills.
We hope. I mean, we do have a Patreon in there, and even though we did lose one person, we'd like for more people to actually do it. So anyway, I'll just go ahead and play the bumpers and we'll talk about it. We'll join you back on the other side. Don't forget that you can download. Don't forget that you can. Don't forget that you can listen to us record the podcast live every Tuesday over on our Facebook page, the Cellcast, our Twitch channel, the Cellcast Gaming, and on YouTube at Cellcast. Also, don't forget to join our Patreon if you would like to support us monetarily. At $1, you'll get our everlasting thanks. At our $5 tier, you can get some artwork from Jacob. And on our $10 tier, you can get bloopers for every episode we've released that I've remembered to release them for. And you can get commentaries from different movies. So come check us out over there if you would like to support us financially. Every other week, join the Retro Rewind Pod as they travel back 15 or more years along the entertainment space-time continuum in their mission to review movies and games, establishing what is still worth your time today. Expect fun banter and trivial insights from Francisco and Paul, the Master Interrupter Powers, and rotating guest hosts who are all out of time. Do you like Star Wars? I don't just mean the original trilogy. Along with that, I mean the prequels, the sequels, the anthologies, the animated shows, and of course, who doesn't like Baby Yoda? Well, if you've been in the fandom for any length of time, you know how toxic the fandom can get. And if you'd like to be able to discuss a galaxy far, far away in a much more positive light, might I suggest searching out The Outer Rim, a Facebook group dedicated to all of Star Wars, and check out their YouTube channel, which you can easily find at Pop Americana, which the podcast you're currently listening to is also a part of. To find that and more, check out the link in the description. The following's a spoiler-filled review for Pokémon Detective Pikachu. Listener discretion's advised. If you don't want to be spoiled right now, you better turn us off. Or you might learn what's going on before you watch the show. Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Pokemon Detective Pikachu
Pika.
was written and directed by Rob Letterman, who also wrote and directed Goosebumps,
Ooh.
the movie that had Jack Black in it from about a year or two before this.
Yes.
It was also written by Dan Hernandez, Benji Sammet, Derek Connolly, and Nicole Perman. It is also based on the video game Pokemon, created by Satoshi Tajiri, Ken Sugimori, and Junichi Masuda, and published by Game Freak, Creatures Incorporated, Nintendo, and the Pokemon Company International.
That's a mouthful.
Yes. It is also based specifically on the video game Detective Pikachu, which was created by Hiroyuki Jinai and published by Creatures Incorporated.
Pika.
The cast includes Ryan Reynolds as Detective Pikachu. And as we all know, he played Hal Jordan in Green Lantern.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
No other superhero movie.
No,
I'm sorry, but if
no superhero whatsoever. He didn't play a mark with a mouth anytime soon.
I'm pretty sure that movie no longer exists due to a certain post-credit scene from another movie.
Yeah, I don't believe this in any way, shape, or form, because we all know everything is canon until proven otherwise.
Right.
And if it's not, and then it's just canon in another continuity. That's how this works in comic book movies, right?
It's another multiverse.
Always another multiverse.
Oh, more multiverses. Can we stop with the multiverses?
Justice
Never.
Smith was the voice of, played Tim Goodman,
Mm-hmm.
and in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, he played Franklin Webb.
That's all I heard in the movie.
You're going to get people knocking on the door here in a minute if you're not careful.
I'll try my best.
He may be in Rhyme City. We're still in our hometown.
That is true.
I
In
just had
Studio
someone
B.
knocking on my hotel door asking if everything was okay.
Who knows? Catherine Newton was the voice. I keep saying the voice because I'm so used to how this usually goes. Catherine Newton was Lucy Stevens. And in the upcoming movie Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, she is playing Cassie Lang, which means they have already recast Cassie from Endgame.
Wow.
Which
Wow,
doesn't make
that
any sense to me whatsoever.
Second recast.
Weird. Bill Nighy voiced, played Howard Clifford, and he was Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Really?
Yes.
He played,
Oh.
in 2 and 3.
I actually didn't know that.
Ken Watanabe was Lieutenant Hideo Yoshida, and he played Dr. Ishiro Serizawa in the MonsterVerse Godzilla movies. Chris Gere played Roger Clifford, and in the television show This Is Us, he plays Philip. Suki Waterhouse was Mrs. Norman, and technically Ditto. And she played Kitty Benet in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Oh, yeah. I heard about the movie. I never saw it. I heard about it. I was like, that's interesting.
Rina Hoshino was half of the voice of Mewtwo, and she played Katana in DC Superhero Girls. And Kotaro Watanabe was the other half of Mewtwo's voice, and he played Japanese tourist number 7 in Handsome, a Netflix mystery movie. And the reason I say half on both of these is they actually fused the voices together for the voice of Mewtwo. So they both had to play it separately, and then they digitally fused the characters' voices so that would be gender neutral for this character who technically doesn't have a gender.
Right.
So
Interesting.
And also it has because since they hired they hired specifically 2 Japanese actors to play the character. So because Mewtwo is from Kanto, which is in Japan.
Interesting.
Ikue Otane voiced Pikachu when it wasn't being voiced by Ryan Reynolds. And she was additional voices in My Neighbor Totoro.
Great movie.
Rikako Aikawa was the voice of Psyduck, most likely. I could not actually find any for Psyduck and Ludicolo, I could not find an actual cast for who these characters were, even though I consider them more major characters. For some reason, they are uncredited in the film. I went with the closest approximation of archive audio from the anime.
Huh.
Which means that Ludicolo was either voiced by Eric Stewart or Bill Rogers. I don't know which of the two.
Yeah, Psyduck just gave me a headache the entire time.
And of course, Mr. Mime played himself.
There's one,
and he also played himself in the anime, which is ironic there because he actually has a voice in the anime.
Really?
Well, he says Mr. Mime over and over again, like
that
like
is
you would,
true.
like other Pokemon would do.
True.
Which has always confused me because technically they're female Mr. Mimes.
I actually can kind of explain that.
Oh,
really?
So I know in Japan it doesn't have the Mr. in front of it.
Yeah, in Japan it doesn't have a good gender. I forget what it's called in Japan, but when they were localizing Red and Blue for us, they came up with Mr. Mime, and someone actually did posit, well, what if at some point they add gender to the game? And they're like,
because there are already two gendered Pokemon that have their own separate numbers in Red and Blue with a Nidoran.
Right. But I mean, that was it. When they were localizing it, they didn't ever expect them to add genders. So,
and they immediately learned their mistake in the very next game.
Exactly.
Because genders were a thing in Gen 2.
There was one cast member you missed.
Oh, who did I miss?
You missed Tim's friend from the very beginning. Karan Sunny played Jack, and he's more well known for playing Dopinder in the Deadpool movies.
Okay, that does make sense.
Excellent.
All right, getting into Kingdom Hearts connections.
Of course.
Bradley Pierce was additional crew in Pokemon Detective Pikachu, and he was additional voices officially in Kingdom Hearts 2, but I did a little bit more digging and realized he's probably Chip from Beauty and the Beast, because that's who he played. That's who he played in Beauty and the Beast.
Okay. Oh, wrong Chip.
Yes. Chip.
Here we go.
Chip as in the teacup.
The teacup.
Not Chip as in Chippendale.
Not the chipmunk.
Yes. John Olson was additional crew in Pokemon Detective Pikachu, and he played Lucifer in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep.
Huh, okay.
And last but not least, there is a song that plays during the Pokemon fight in the underground.
Mm-hmm.
That's called Go in this movie.
Go?
That's the name of it.
Okay.
That was written by a guy by the name of Sonny Moore.
Okay.
Who is more well known by his stage name Skrillex.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Who was one of the writers of the song of the theme song "Face My Fears" from Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, nice. Deep cut. Nice. Very nice.
So yeah, that's the Kingdom Hearts connections. There was a couple more connected to 3, but it was starting to get ridiculous.
Yeah.
I would also like to point out that nearly every Pokemon voice in this movie appeared at some point in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, because nearly all the Pokemon that were in this are also in that.
Well,
as items.
Well, also, Nick Fury had to come to Pikachu at some point, be like, you're part of the Smash Brother initiative.
Apparently. This includes the Grey Ninjas, who are a character, and it is not the same voice from Mewtwo, because the Mewtwo in the game only speaks in Japanese.
Oh, okay.
Which is annoying, I have to say. But anyway, also not... it's not the same Jigglypuff, because it's the Japanese Jigglypuff in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Huh.
And there's a Pokemon I'm missing. Lucario is not the same. Is not in this movie, but his pre-evolution Riolu is.
Huh.
And I've shown off a little bit more information than I intended to, but we'll move on. Because we all know now Smash Brothers is a Kingdom Hearts game now.
It's connected.
Oh, there will be some connection. This is our excuse to have a... They just need to get Wreck-It Ralph, and this will explain everything.
Come on, Disney. Make it happen.
It's just... Anyway, we'll not go there.
Yeah, either or.
There has got to be at some point a Nintendo-only game
Mm-hmm.
of Kingdom Hearts that is that because it's just the Wreck-It Ralph world. And it's their excuse to show off every character Nintendo owns.
All right.
Anyway, what do we got in info and stuff?
All right. So input stuff. If you want to watch this movie, if you stream movies, it's available on HBO Max. If you're subscribed to HBO Max, you can check it out there. It's available on YouTube, available mostly everywhere for $3.99 to $5.99, what have you. We actually watched it on a physical copy of Drew's. So, and the IMDb score is a 6.6 out of 10. Production was
Horribly low.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
fairly low for this movie, which explains some things that I come up later. Production was by Legendary Pictures and the Pokemon Company. Distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures here in the States. And also in Japan, it was released by Toho.
Mhm.
All right, so its release date originally in Japan was May 3rd, 2019. And it actually was released a couple of days later on May 10th, 2019 here in the United States. So going on to the box office, its estimated budget was $150 million. Its opening was $54.3 million on May 12th. Its US and Canada gross was $144.1 million, and its worldwide gross was $433.4 million. Its home release, Detective Pikachu, was released on digital HD on July 23rd, 2019, and was released on Ultra HD Blu-ray and DVD on August 6, 2019. The film, let's see, it debuted on the DVD and Blu-ray charts upon the first week of release. The second top-selling home video title in August of 2018 after Avengers Endgame. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Because if you ever watched it Endgame, that's just I get an interesting story about Endgame. We'll tell that later. As of August 2020, the DVD and Blu-ray release of Pokemon Detective Pikachu has earned over $30 million in the United States alone.
Okay.
So, going into sequels, this is the sad part about this, because there have been rumors since 2019 that they were working on a Detective Pikachu 2. They were saying it was in pre-production. They were saying they were writing it, but according to an interview with HBO Max, Justin Smith said he would love to do a sequel, but probably won't happen because of some disagreements. The director couldn't think of enough ideas for the sequel, especially since the 2018 spin-off Pokemon game of the same name didn't even have a sequel. So
it's supposed to have been remastered for Switch, but that still hasn't happened yet.
Right. So it's still up in the air if this movie will ever get a sequel or ever see the light of day.
In fact, my understanding is this movie actually went farther. This movie, since it actually does explain what happened to Tim's dad.
Yeah.
The game doesn't even do that, is my understanding.
Yeah.
He's still missing in the game.
Mm. So yeah, be like there might be a possibility they may do a Pokemon Detective Pikachu at some point in the future, but as of right now, there isn't one. So not one even production or pre-production. So either or, that is the kind of the sad downside to it, that we're not getting a sequel right now.
Not immediately.
Not immediately.
Ideally, you might do I honestly, I don't want them to do a direct sequel to Detective Pikachu.
Right.
Yeah.
But I also don't know if the standard series game you can actually really do in a 2-hour movie
I would make it a trilogy.
Yeah, maybe. In reality, though, I think I would prefer them just do an original story, like Detective Pikachu is mostly an original story, the game is.
Right.
I would want something set in that universe where a Pokemon trainer maybe was on his, gym thing, but then gets wrapped up in essentially do the whole evil team thing and focus on that,
Right.
but have that be a chapter in this guy's as he's going through one of the Pokemon regions. I don't know which one. Or just make a new one. Because technically Rhyme City is in a Pokemon region. They just never say which Pokemon region.
Okay. So Legendary Pictures and the Pokemon Company hired Drew to write your script.
I didn't say write the script. I'm just an idea man.
Okay, idea
I mean,
guy.
you've seen my work with Sonic the Hedgehog too.
That is true. The guy's got talent.
I called that one.
Exactly.
Hopefully, maybe
So
I just called the concept here.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, I could see it maybe a trilogy of games working too. But you've got to make me really care about this kid going through his whole Pokemon League journey. And that's going to be tough, I think, with the standard way those games are set.
Right.
Anyway. That was all you had?
That's all I got.
Okay, well then I'll get into the summary. Tim Goodman gave up on his dream of being a Pokemon trainer following the death of his mother and his estrangement from his father, Harry, a police detective. Tim is contacted by the police of Rhyme City, a city where humans and Pokemon live together in harmony and Pokemon battles are illegal. He is informed by Harry's friend, Detective Hideo Yoshida, that Harry was killed in a car accident. Tim goes to Harry's apartment to sort things out and meets Harry's police partner, a deerstalker-clad amnesiac Pikachu, whom only Tim can understand. Tim accidentally releases a mysterious purple gas known as R from a vial he finds in Harry's office. They are then attacked by a party of Apom who become rabid under the gas's influence. Pikachu believes that Harry survived the crash as the police never found his body. They meet an informant of Harry's, a Mr. Mime, who directs them to an illegal underground Pokemon battle arena. The arena is raided by police, and Tim is brought to Yoshida, who reveals footage of Harry's crash, explaining that it is impossible that Harry could have survived. Tim and Pikachu are contacted by Howard Clifford, the founder of Clifford Industries and creator of Rhyme City. Clifford reveals that Harry was abducted by a genetically engineered Pokemon called Mewtwo, who erased Pikachu's memory of the incident. He warns Tim that his son Roger is behind the creation of the R-Gas. Tim and Pikachu recruit aspiring journalist Lucy Stevens and her Psyduck and travel to the abandoned genetics lab Harry was investigating when they are attacked by genetically enhanced Greninja. A Bulbasaur leads them to Mewtwo. Pikachu remembers that he helped Mewtwo escape from the lab and believes he was responsible for betraying Harry. Not trusting himself, he leaves Tim. Pikachu finds evidence that it was the Greninja, not Mewtwo, who were responsible for the crash. Back in Rhyme City, Clifford exposes himself as the mastermind behind the R-Gas and the Mewtwo experiments. He explains that Mewtwo confused humans with their Pokemon, but only if the Pokemon are drugged with R first. Tim and Pikachu subdue Clifford and thwart his plot. Mewtwo explains that Harry had tried to save him from Howard and helped him escape, but was attacked by the Greninja. Mewtwo had decided to heal Harry's wounded body, while Pikachu had volunteered to have himself fuse his consciousness with Harry to continue their investigation, the experience erasing both their memories. Mewtwo separates the two, and Tim reunites with Harry in his human body. Separates the two, and Tim reunites with Harry in his human body. I just screwed that sentence up. D-lit.
D-lit.
Did it play?
I didn't hear it.
Pooh.
Nope.
That's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to have to do some editing in it anyway. Okay. Which means it'll probably play here in a couple seconds in the middle of something else. Mewtwo separates the two, and Tim reunites with Harry in his human body. Tim decides to stay in Rhyme City to become a detective and spend more time with his father and Pikachu. At the time of this movie's release, there were over 800 possible Pokemon that could have appeared in this movie. However, only 58 Pokemon species actually do. These are Pikachu, Psyduck, Snubbull, Ditto, Eevee, Flareon, Charizard, Greninja, Charmander, Dodrio, Bouffalant, Flabebe, Venusaur, Arduino, Comfey, Pidgeotto, Braviary, Squirtle, Rufflet, Pancham, Jigglypuff, Emolga, Joltik, Bulbasaur, Morlul, Apom, Mr. Mime, Lickitung, Growlithe, Ludicolo, Golurk, Arcanine, Magnemite, Kingler, Slacking, Snorlax, Machamp, Pangoro, Pidgeot, Loudred, Blastoise, Haunter, Gengar, Magikarp, Gyarados, Cubone, Riolu, Rattata, Trico, Octillery, Mewtwo, Purloin, Sneasel, Torterra, Doduo, Graveler, Togepi, and Totodile. That is a lot of words to say, really, right there next to each other.
Oh my gosh.
There's a couple of those I don't remember seeing.
Did I mention the Flabebe? I don't think I did. Because I did say the Flabebe. I do remember seeing them this one time. I didn't see them the other 2 times I watched it because they are super small.
It was this time watching it was the first time I actually noticed Togepi.
I still don't remember where Togepi was.
Togepi's in the battle. Like the
okay,
battle place. There's a woman holding one in the back.
That would make sense. I'll have to double check that later. But anyway, back to the thing. Tim mentions a gangster film on TV is an old detective movie. The clip being shown is actually Angels with Filthy Souls, a movie within a movie, which was originally featured in the original Home Alone from 1990.
Love that.
The realistic style of the Pokemon were based on the artwork by R.J. Palmer. The movie's production designer discovered him while he was looking for realistic Pokemon designs on the internet. And he was so impressed by Palmer's artwork that he gave him a job as a concept artist for this movie. Pete Dion, a visual effects supervisor at MPC, stated that in designing the Pokemon for the film, one thing that the Pokemon company was uncompromising on was all Pokemon, no matter what the circumstances, need to remain adorable. I think they did that pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
The day before the film's theatrical release, the entire movie was leaked onto YouTube. In reality, however, clicking the video will play a minute of the film, literally just the opening logos, before cutting to a loop of Pikachu dancing for 1 hour and 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that was funny, because I actually watched a good portion of it, because I was curious how long it was going to go for. Or if there would be like some other scene hidden like deep within it where they wouldn't expect someone to actually sit that long for. But no, it is actually Pikachu dancing the whole time.
Wow.
The voiceover for the large crowd chants were recorded during the Pokemon World Championships 2018 in Nashville.
Really?
Mm-hmm. When Tim and Pikachu are searching the lab, they see footage that states that Mewtwo was created and escaped Kanto 20 years ago. Pokemon, the first movie, came out in 1999 in the USA. It was released in Japan in 1998, 20 years before the events of this movie, and featured Mewtwo. The Pokemon Company tried to keep Mr. Mime from appearing in the movie because they thought he wouldn't come out well in live action. Rob Letterman ended up having to pitch the whole idea personally to the Pokemon Company's president to cajole him into letting him appear. The film's cinematographer, John Matheson, noted that, like his other films, Detective Pikachu was shot on traditional film, in contrast to most other contemporary films which are shot digitally. He said the look of traditional film helped him make it look more realistic. I agree. It was the Pokemon's company idea to have Rhyme City ban battling and using Pokemon, wishing to show a different and more elevated relationship between Pokemon and people. They were also very protective of Ash Ketchum and forbade any reference to him from being made, going so far as to even forbidding Tim from wearing a cap. Which makes no sense to me whatsoever. What's wrong with him wearing a cap? All the Pokemon protagonists wear a hat.
I think that was the point. Was they wanted it so different. Like, this protagonist doesn't wear a hat.
But that's just weird. That makes it sound like he's the rival character from the most recent games. But anyway. Yeah. Dwayne Johnson, Mark Wahlberg, and Hugh Jackman were eyed to play the title role of Pikachu.
If you smell...
Let's sit back and think what a Hugh Jackman Pikachu would sound like.
We're gonna go solve this problem, bub.
Or for that matter, Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Can you smell what Pikachu is cooking?
All right, I just gotta know, what was your issue with your dad? It doesn't matter.
Of course, this ultimately went to Ryan Reynolds. However, the fans from the start favored none other than Danny DeVito for the role, despite DeVito claiming in an interview he had no idea what Pokemon even was.
Danny DeVito?
It later was revealed that DeVito was actually considered for the role, with the movie's visual effects team actually doing early character animation tests to recordings of the actor's previous roles. One of the movie's producers even said that the spirit of Danny DeVito, I promise you, is still inside of Pikachu when it came to crafting the character's personality.
Oh, gosh. Okay. That's weird. Okay, so it's the penguin.
Or worse. Or worse. I mean, there are worse things he's been in that is definitely... Well,
Twins.
I say that knowing we got Deadpool playing Pikachu.
That is true. But
Danny DeVito would not have been that much worse.
That is...
Other than just sounding weird. Maybe it's a Psyduck.
Yeah, there we go. Play a Psyduck.
But anyway. Ms. Norman is seen texting that Pikachu is at the fighting ring. This is for the audience's benefit. As while we don't know it yet, Ms. Norman is a Ditto. She can't speak words that humans can understand. Texting is a reliable way of communicating across the species barrier. The fact that Howard Clifford's Pokemon companion is a Ditto, a long-standing theory among fans, is that Ditto was created as a failed Mewtwo attempt, which is why he was obsessed with Mewtwo. And besides that, for a man who is so fixated on Pokemon, it makes sense that his companion is the one that can become all of them. Which brings me to the end of the trivia. So, Josh, as our guest, what is your first like for this film?
My first like is just simply the way that all the Pokemon look in live action. I feel like they captured, pun intended, the spirit of each Pokemon that they used for the movie. Like, to me, they all look how I essentially envisioned what they would look like if they were real.
Right.
Like what from how fuzzy Pikachu is to the scaly look of Charizard or Bulbasaur.
Right.
Even getting down to like the size of these Pokemon, like how small some of them really are.
Right.
It's one of those things you don't think about when you're playing the game, is how small or big some of these creatures are.
Yeah.
So you don't think about how Flabebe is literally super tiny.
Yeah, I mean, it is the smallest Pokemon in existence.
Or how big Torterra is, notwithstanding the ones that are way oversized due to experiments.
More on that later.
But yeah, it's first like just the way that they all look.
Okay. I like how even though there are only 58 species of Pokemon present in the movie,
yes,
it really feels like Pokemon are everywhere.
Yeah,
and it feels like it's a world full of Pokemon. And I know part of that is, even when you consider like when they're in Leaventown at the very beginning of the film trying to catch the Cubone, I love how even that kind of feels like this is a world that Pokemon exists in. I mean, admittedly, they are taking the places of normal animals that you would normally see. So when it would make sense that a bird would fly through, they would use either a Pidgey or a Pidgeotto or a Braviary to show that. I appreciated that. Now the Lickitung, on the other hand, I could have did without.
Yeah, that was a little creepy. Just a little
That
bit.
is like the worst Pokemon, in my opinion, in terms of design. Or the creepiest anyway. But I love how they made the way they handled, even with those only using those 58, made the world of Pokemon actually feel real.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
actually like it could exist. Which most hybrid films do a bad job of making it feel like the animated characters and the real world actually fit together, even when they're supposed to look like they fit together. This is one of the few films I think actually pulls it off. But yeah, that's my first like, is how full the world is of Pokemon in this film.
Oh, okay. So my first like is actually a quote. I didn't catch it at first. I kind of teased it up beforehand, and I'd be like watching it the first time. I didn't catch it quite really, but watching the second time through detective mode, which is on the Blu-ray, I was watching it and I see this little Pikachu say this one line, and I lost it. Let me quote it to you. All right. So to set it up, this is where Pikachu with the cap and
Detective Pikachu
and what's her main character's name again?
Tim.
Tim, they're sitting at the bar or having coffee. They're trying to discuss what's going on. And so Detective Pikachu loves coffee for some reason. And so he says this line and it cracks me up. And everybody who's a nerd gets it. All right. Another round. Extra shot. Black as night. Thank you, sweetie. Black as night.
As in the Dark Knight?
No. As the Green Lantern.
Oh, and brightest day and blackest
night.
night, no evil shall escape
Oh,
my sight.
wow.
Let all who worship evil's
Subtle.
might beware my power, Green
Lantern's
Lantern's
lights. I'd be like, I saw that. I was like, wait
That's
a
actually
minute.
a better reference than any reference he made to Deadpool.
Yeah, that is true. But like, I saw it and I watched it and I was like, I had to pause it. I'm cracking up. It's like, oh my gosh, they made a Green Lantern reference, a joke in the Pokemon movie.
I don't think it's an intentional joke, though.
I don't think it was, but it was so
intentional,
cleverly well done. And it's like, oh, Black as Night. It's like, that's a Green Lantern reference.
I think it was an reference by accident almost.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if it was by accident, great. If it was intentional, that's even better. I laugh. I know this is silly beyond belief, but the idea of this little line is like his coffee, Black as Night, and it's Ryan Reynolds, who is Green Lantern in a Warner Brothers film, made me laugh my head off. And I thought it was the funniest line ever. So yeah, mine is, Pikachu's line of using that. Yes.
Okay. Josh, what's your second like?
My second like actually kind of plays off something Jacob just said. It's just simply Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Completely.
It's one of those things, as I said, much earlier, is when I first heard Ryan Reynolds' voice coming out of Pikachu, my instant thought was, really? Deadpool? But then watching the movie, it's like, no, it just fits. I honestly can't think of any voice that I would rather have. Other
than the regular Pikachu.
Well,
Yes, that makes sense.
I mean specifically if you're hearing Pikachu speaking English. But yeah, just some of the jokes to me only really work with Ryan Reynolds' voice, like, oh, that's very twisty.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Or the one of my favorite things is when he's going over, oh, he must have faked his death, or someone faked his death, or he faked someone else's death. That last one doesn't make sense.
It is very much a Ryan Reynolds thing. But like going back even further into Ryan Reynolds' career as an actor, I think of Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, which he starred in. And I absolutely loved that show when I saw it when I was younger.
Oh, that's great.
And he was just the same way, just very ad-lib, jokey guy who's just like, he's an incredible actor. And the fact to be like, they got Ryan Reynolds to do the voice. And apparently the only reason he did it because he wanted to do a film that his kids could watch because all his other films are rated R.
Right.
So I just thought it was very unique that they grabbed Ryan Reynolds, or he auditioned for it and got the role. And it's just like you said before, Josh, it was very off-putting at first. I was like, wait, this is Ryan Reynolds, the guy who did Deadpool. He's playing a Pokemon. He's playing Pikachu. And I thought that was very unique. So yeah, I completely agree.
Now I need Ryan Reynolds as Detective Pikachu talking to Team Rocket's Meowth.
Yes.
I need this.
But it's as you said, he's always been known for ad-lib, which almost makes me wonder how much of this movie was Ryan Reynolds ad-libbing.
Oh yeah, it was. Most of it was.
I bet a lot of it was. I bet he had like what they ended up having to do was probably say, okay, here's what happens in the scene. We're recording your audio first so everyone else can act off of that. Here's what we got to do in this scene. Say the lines, make sure you reference this, and this, and we'll just do this we'll just record the audio of this about 3-4 times, and then we'll animate it.
Yeah.
And make the best clips.
I and also remember. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, please.
Oh, okay. So what I understand, like watching the features, be like Ryan Reynolds was on set for most of it, so he was dubbing his lines on set.
That's even better if you have a decent way to record that.
Yeah. I think some of it he did in the studio and some of it he did on set. And I thought that was just like very unique because I guarantee there's probably so many, gags they can't even show because it's Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Right. And
there is definitely a rated R cut of Detective Pikachu out there somewhere.
Release it. I want to see it.
That has to exist.
Oh, it does. I guarantee there are so many ad libs, and it's kind of like Robin Williams from Aladdin.
Yeah,
be like there's
a rated R version.
There's a rated R version of it.
I have heard that with that scenario, there's probably about 16 hours of
that doesn't surprise me.
Footage.
Is Disney ever going to release it?
No. Well, they probably legally can't.
No.
Would we want to hear it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least in a YouTube video.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway.
Yeah.
So you already did your second like, right,
yes.
Josh? Okay,
yes.
So my second like is the Mr. Mime scene.
Oh, that's so good.
Because here's the thing. Mr. Mime was, for a very long time, my least favorite Pokemon. Because let's face it, it's a creepy design.
Indeed.
For what it is.
Indeed.
But at the same time, the way they did that whole bit from beginning to end, to the point where even at the very end, after he's quote unquote doused Mr. Mime with gasoline and has the little thing, and they're miming, dousing him with gasoline, making a gasoline trail, but yet they close the door so Mr. Mime can't get out.
What I love is he even
and the whole time is they're holding the match, the mimed match, and it's lit. Even though it's mimed,
you can hear it.
And you can't hear it at the beginning.
Oh yeah, that's right. You can't
it's not until they drop it and you hear the boom, and it's like, oh, wait, that Mr. Mime is needing to make a trip to the Pokemon Center.
Well, one of the things I love is when as he's doing the trail, he hits his head.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well, when Tim just stands out in front of him and just does the stops him, and he wrecked on that motorcycle. It's like,
that was nasty. He should have.
I'll go with this. This is a better explanation of Mr. Mime's powers than the games ever gave us, because all he does in the games is a standard psychic attacks everybody else can do. He doesn't even have I think he's got metronome. That's the closest thing to a mime attack he has.
Well, he does barrier.
That's true. That and he would probably do that as a mime.
Barrier, reflect, and light screen have always been kind of done as like a wall.
Yeah, and I'm sure those attacks were created with him in mind, and just they're so useful they were given to other psychic types as well. But anyway, I love the whole Mr. Mime scene because it's absolutely ridiculous. It's almost unnecessary, but yet it does the whole thing where it's like you've got the uncooperative guy in the detective noir films that won't tell you what the answer is until you force him to say it. And how do you do it? By pantomiming that you're going to douse him with gasoline and that you're holding a lit match that you could drop at any minute, and then you accidentally do.
Yes.
One of my favorite lines from that whole scene is just that he's not going anywhere. Don't tell him that.
That's yeah. Okay, I play good cop. You play bad cop. Okay. I'm pushing people out. You're pushing people. I'm pushing people. I'm pushing people away because I don't want to put myself out there in front of other people. It's like, Pikachu, he has no idea who you are. You're not hinting at your real identity. You're not hiding your real identity. It's like we all know who you are at this point, even if we hadn't guessed it yet.
Right.
Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Jacob, what's your second?
Oh my gosh, I was so torn. Like, this conversation started brewing different thoughts in my mind about how they, like, the second like how much, but truly I'm getting down to more like the artistic form of this movie. It's the noir callback to the old films, was just stated earlier. I just love how they use the lighting in this film. They use like, you're going down an alley, it's just like dark, and like everything's cast in shadow, and you're using different light sources. Like when our main character Tim goes to his father's apartment, and the lighting goes from blue to red to blue, it's a different shades of colors, and just like how it's shot, everything. It's just a beautiful film, the way it's shot. And again, it's shot on 35 millimeter film, unlike more modern films where it's shot digitally.
Yeah,
and it just, you gives it that realism. Be like, yeah, you don't get the grain or anything, but it's so well done.
Actually, there is some film grain.
Really,
it's very light because of how new. I mean, it would have
been
filmed
true
on that and then digitally and then transfer like immediately after to digital, probably for editing.
Mm-hmm.
So the film grain is very light because there's not a lot of age to it, but you can in the
that is true.
The scenes with a lot of dark, you can really see it.
Yeah, you can see it. That's right. But that's just a real great touch. Definitely the director.
And even on the Pokemon, you can see it, which more than likely were not not superimposed, but composited into the image until after it was digital, because I can't imagine trying to do that on the film side, but that is possible.
Yeah.
So they obviously had to have digitally inserted grain on top of them too.
Yeah. Which is a level of detail you never think of in a film like this.
Yeah.
I love how, like, there's so much of the directorial direction with this when you get into the quote unquote the abandoned lab. And it just be like the way they shoot the angles and everything. I love how this movie's shot. And I just, definitely just how this film's shot. It definitely noir, with the storytelling and everything. I absolutely just love that about this film. So yeah, that's my number 2.
Which brings us to our disc.
What?
You all right, Josh?
Everything right?
I'm back. I'm human.
Oh, nice.
So you're no longer a furry.
I'm no longer an. Oh, there went the Eevee that I was.
Go catch it.
I would, but I don't have any Pokeballs. I didn't get a chance to buy any.
Well, and it is illegal to have Pokeballs in Rhyme City.
That is true. That is so true. Well, you can just go and befriend it or something like that.
Yeah.
I might try and find it later. I think it's hiding over there under the bed.
Well, I'm sure it's scared for what it's had to go through the last couple of days.
Yeah, exactly.
Too.
What's this doing in my mind?
But anyway, since you're back to your old human self, I assume you don't need to take care of anything before we jump into dislikes.
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Well, what's your first dislike for this film?
My first dislike is the holographic technology. Like the one Clifford that he uses to like show the wreck initially. It's awesome, but makes no sense. Where did he get the footage?
You raise a good point.
That is a good point.
Like, how does he have?
Well, you do see. Okay, So at that location, you can see a digital camera.
Mhm.
Okay.
I assume it's not the only digital camera at that location, but is it very convenient.
Yeah, it's a
that
very
it was
convenient.
this wreck happened in front of a camera,
Yeah.
and you would need at least 3 to produce that holographic effect.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I mean, like I said, it's an awesome idea. I loved the idea. It just would have. I would have liked him to be like, oh, I got this footage because I have cameras in different places so that I can be wherever I want to be. So that I can explore the city from the comfort of my office since I can't really
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
places.
Big Brother is watching.
Exactly.
Well, that would have been a good way to get like some Magnemite in the film, because you could have them like maybe holding cameras.
What is a Magnemite?
It's kind of a sphere with 2 magnets on it. That
Oh, okay.
with a
Okay.
screw on top. It's one of the Gen 1s. You should know it.
Okay.
And if
I
you
know
get
you know
3
the
of
Gen
them,
1s
it's a
at least.
A
magneton.
little bit.
Do what, Josh?
I said if you get 3 of them together, it's a magneton.
And then if you somehow evolve it again, it turns into a spaceship.
Exactly.
But anyway, my first dislike as a kaiju fan,
Okay.
the giant Torterra garden, while cool to watch,
Yes.
could have been completely left out and not changed the story.
Right.
Because the fact that these giant mountains
Mm-hmm.
stood up and walked around for a couple minutes, that very probably easily could have been seen from Rhyme City,
Mm-hmm.
because they're not that far away from town,
No, they're not.
Right.
doesn't even make the news.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just, they didn't show it because, he owns the news. We know that. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there's nobody even talking about. It's like, hey, did you see the skyline change?
I wonder what that is. It could be a Pokemon.
Wonder what's going on over there, because I believe those are the largest land-dwelling Pokemon that have ever been seen, even though they are genetically altered Torterras.
Yeah, you might be right.
Because the only other Pokemon near that size is going to be Wailord, and it's out at
Well,
sea,
How
which
big
we
is
didn't have in
Groudon?
this. Groudon? Okay, Groudon may be, because he is a Gen 3. He is the Gen 3 ground legendary. But I don't remember what the Pokedex says his size is.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I
think
kind of
he's
assumed
pretty
he was
big.
he was about the same size as the water one from that one, which is the name I can't think of right
Kyogre?
now. Yeah, Kyogre. And it's smaller than Wailord. So,
Okay. Yeah.
because Wailord is the biggest one, to my knowledge.
Believe you're right. I'd have to double check some of the newer stuff, but
Which is really strange when you consider that it technically somehow can mate with a Skitty.
we don't question it.
We don't question it, no. I'm just saying, huge whale.
There's only one way that kind of works,
itty-bitty
but
fox cat.
Itty-bitty kitty cat.
Don't know how that works or how it produces an egg.
And I thought Digimon Digivolutions were weird.
Oh, it gets stranger.
Oh, okay.
Bear in mind, like half the Pokemon on the global trade network right now can probably count a Ditto as one of its parents.
Whoa. Okay.
At least half
Okay.
of all the Pokemon on the global trade system right now.
Yeah.
All right.
If not more. But anyway, because the Ditto can actually mate with any Pokemon that can mate.
Okay. Gotcha.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, the don't get me wrong, I love the fact that we've got 3 giant Torterras, because that is the closest to, outside of having the Godzilla one, whose name I can't think of right now either. I feel horrible. Outside of him showing up, he's not even that size. So I mean, this is like really the Pokemon Kaiju, the first Pokemon Kaiju prior to Sword and Shield,
Dynamaxing.
and then Dynamaxing, where we literally get Pikachu, because we get giant Pikachu. But still, like those things are huge, but they make almost no impact on anything in the setting or the story, and that's annoying. Jacob,
All right. So you started bringing up more lore about Pokemon.
yes, I know too much.
Yes. Mine would be kind of the opposite, with being a non-Pokemon fanatic, someone who doesn't know the lore and everything going into this film. I'm like, okay, who's this character? Who's this character? What's going on here? Be like, all these references that are going on, I can't catch. Be like, I am missing
Nice
the
pun.
Yes, exactly. I'm missing a little spear that I don't know how to use because I'm not a Pokemon fan. So watching this film, it's like it's a great film. Do not get me wrong, but I don't get any of the references whatsoever. So
you probably didn't even catch when Pikachu said, "Oh my Arceus."
No, I didn't.
Or why that matters.
Be like, okay, that's a funny joke. I don't get it.
Arceus is the Pokemon god.
Oh, okay.
And you actually see a statue of him in Clifford's office next to Dialga and Palkia, the Pokemon god of space and the Pokemon god of time.
Yeesh. Okay.
And yet they didn't put the little topiary Pokemon in there like they should have.
And there's no reference to Giratina, but we can understand that.
Or for that matter, there is a Zapdos, an Articuno reference on the poster at least. So there is that legendary, but none of the other big legendaries.
If you look in his bedroom, he does have a Rayquaza.
That's right, he does have the Rayquaza thing. And so this came out. Okay, this movie came out in 2019, so that would have been before Sword and Shield, but after Sun and Moon, right?
I believe so, yes.
So yeah, he doesn't have any of the Alolan stuff in there, but that also kind of makes sense because that game would have been in production while the movie was.
But anyway, how known like the Tapus would have been outside of Alola.
So yeah,
all I know is if they could have done it in time, I guarantee you Alola Executor would have been in there.
Oh, that would have been so cool.
That would have been funny. Alolan Executor is a palm tree that is literally 7 feet tall.
Okay.
And it's also somehow a dragon.
In Pokemon Go, its head is above the camera.
Okay.
All you can see is the bottom.
Wow. Okay.
It is tall and it is funny looking.
Oh, okay. So like you just said, like all that information, I had no idea what that meant. I mean, like I get little references here and there, but most of the time, like this movie was made for Pokemon fans. Now, for a person who loves animation, loves movies, be like, okay, I can enjoy the film for what it is as a cinematic, for storytelling, for okay, I get what a Pikachu is, I get what a Squirtle is, I get what a I want to say Charmander, but
Charizard.
Yeah, Charizard.
You're in the right family, at least.
Okay. Yeah, so be like, I get those characters. Be like, oh, okay, I recognize this big thing that's sitting in the middle of the highway with another Pokemon doing
Snorlax and Machamp.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know who they are. It's like, okay, I recognize who those characters are, but I don't know who they are. But it's more like it's more when you're coming from a person who isn't a Pokemon fan. It's just like, oh, okay, you're dropped into a world you don't understand. It's still a great world to walk around in, but you're still so confused on what's going on with who they are. But there again, it's still a great film. It's just more all the references I did not get.
Yeah, but I appreciate, at least for me, that the fact that you don't have to know Pokemon to understand this movie. Yeah, you get more if you know Pokemon.
Yeah,
but it's not necessary. And
I agree.
And in so many cases, it's just, it's these cute little jokes that you don't really need to know, but it's cool if you get them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not really like there's not whole story points depending on you knowing that Charizard is weak to water.
Yeah.
Now you do get that are probably weird moments like when it's like, oh yeah, Magikarp's the worst. Yeah, but it turns into Gyarados, and you're going, who's the Gyarados?
Yeah.
And then he turns into the giant blue dragon and says, why can't a fish do that?
That's exactly.
Which is a question we had when we were young, but now we just accept.
Yeah.
Especially
I was like, okay, that's cool. What is this thing?
Again, I know the lore behind that.
I know the lore behind it too. I know where it comes from. I know the folklore it's based on.
Yeah.
But anyway.
All right, so yeah, that's my first number one. A outsider looking in, enjoying a film, but not understanding all the everything going on. But I still really enjoyed the film. It was just like,
Now,
yeah.
there is a joke I think would have been funny. If they needed a slow bro at the station, but you have him like walking down the stairs at the beginning of the movie, but when you get back to the end of the movie, he's not that much farther.
That would have been so good.
It's a sloth character.
Almost. He just is very slow.
Oh, okay.
I'll put it this way: the slow bro or slow poke or slow bro, they kind of became a meme where you would use it to be like, "Oh, hey guys, did you hear about this thing that happened like 20 plus years ago?"
Yeah.
It's as if it's just now hearing it.
Hey guys, did you hear in the year 1999 there's going to be, when we go into the new millennium, there's going to be all the computers are going to crash? Yeah, they're calling it the Y2K bug. You're hearing this in 2020.
Yeah. a little slow. A little bit.
Slow.
Just a little.
This is the Pokemon that is so stupid that it does not even realize that another Pokemon is chewing on its tail.
Oh, okay.
It's too
Or
stupid
on its head.
Wow.
In a different version.
Okay.
It's too stupid to understand pain.
Yes.
So it's stupider than a sheep?
And it's a psychic
Yes.
type.
Wow. What?
Yeah.
It's a psychic type.
It is the
Pokemon.
same. It is the same typing as Psyduck, as they're
No.
both water
Actually-
psychic types.
Actually, I don't think Psyduck ever was psychic.
Yeah, he's psychic.
Is he? I could have sworn he wasn't.
You know what?
Oh
You could
my
be right.
gosh.
Golduck could be the one that's actually technically psychic type. But let's face it, we all knew that he has psychic attacks from like the very beginning of his evolutionary, from his
Right.
leveling. So
Yeah. So yeah.
he just doesn't get the advantage of being a psychic type until he's Golduck.
All right. So
But anyway.
yeah. So to wrap it all up, be like understanding. I love the movie. Great story, character development, everything. There's just all the little nuances of who characters are, what they do, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. I don't get some of this, but yeah, that's one of my dislikes.
All right. Josh, what is your second dislike for this movie?
My second dislike is that the big final twist of the movie was extremely predictable.
Yeah.
Like it
Agreed.
was something you can kind of see coming from
Yeah.
the moment
Yeah.
Pikachu starts talking.
It's the only explanation that really makes sense
Yeah.
from the very beginning.
Yeah. It'd be like watching, be like what there again, having no context of what's going on in the world of Pokemon. It's like, I know Pikachus don't talk.
Yeah.
But Tim's the only one who can understand him. His father is missing, and you learn about this mental transfer. Oh, okay, it's the dad.
Yeah, the minute they kind of tell you, oh, there's a mental transfer, it's like, oh, that's the last piece I needed.
Yep, that's
I
the
was
dad.
only, I was only guessing that Pikachu was Tim's father, but now I know for certain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was about halfway through the film, and it was like, wait a minute. Oh,
Yeah.
Like,
Pikachu
for
is
me-
actually the dad. Cool.
For me, one of the big things that gave it away was when he's like, "Oh, I just know that if your dad was here, he would give you a big hug." Yeah, because you want to give him a big hug right now
Yeah, exactly.
because you're his dad.
Also, the coffee addiction.
Yes.
True.
He is the detective. He is the detective.
I know that is a running joke from the game also, because he's always talking about drinking coffee in the game.
Who's
from my
always
understanding?
Who?
Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu.
Oh, okay.
The Detective Pikachu in the
Oh.
game, Detective Pikachu is
Oh, okay.
also always, that this movie is based on,
Oh,
is
okay.
always talking about drinking coffee.
Oh, okay.
He is more of a coffee addict than this Detective Pikachu is.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Because literally, I think it's between every mission. I've seen it one or two Let's Plays, but never finished it.
Mm.
But anyway,
I gotcha. I totally get it.
yeah.
Totally get it. Be like it's very, it's on the nose. It's like, and it's be like they set up all the clues very well, but at the same time, be like, oh, okay, halfway through the film, okay, you get it. Yeah, it's very predictable.
All right. So my second dislike for this film is, despite all of the Pokemon designs working as well as they are, there are a couple points in time where I don't know if it's the art style, I don't know if it's just bad compositing or what, but there's a couple parts where you look at it and go, that does not match what's going on. It's I don't know if the art style almost like works against itself, I think, on some of the Pokemon designs. I'm thinking of the Machamp as one there in the middle of downtown directing traffic is one of them, where the eyes are too much like the original. So it kind of looks weird, and as much as I love the twist with Ditto, boy, that effect should not be put on humans.
I think that was the intention, was to make it like...
I know, but I remember looking at that and going, "Ugh, I feel dirty looking at this."
It feels like one of those things, if you saw that...
oh, yeah, in real life, that thing would...
In real life? Yeah,
if you saw a human with those two little beady eyes and a smile, you would be scared half to death.
Yeah.
You would probably be having nightmares for like the next year.
Yeah. Now, Ditto in its normal form, I thought actually looked very well, and that's the best way I could think to actually do a Ditto, outside of it just being a pile of pink slop. But the fact that it actually has transparent edges, I thought looked cool.
I mean, that's how I've always kind of pictured it in my head, was that it'd be almost translucent.
And then, of course, my boy Gray Ninja. Gray Ninja is my favorite Pokemon, by the way.
Which one's Gray Ninja?
That was the Frog Ninjas.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Those are my favorite Pokemon. Now, the fact that you have some that are genetically altered to be, evil, basically, I can work with that, because, I mean, who else are you going to have do covert ops to stop your evil, the guy who's going to wreck your plans? Of course, you bring in the ninjas. Yeah. That makes sense. But at the same time, even if you don't realize the fact that their scarves are technically their tongues.
Yep.
I'm not kidding.
Wow.
Yeah. There are a couple shots where they actually are very accurate to that. Like when they're holding Lucy there, when Tim comes back in, and you look, and they finally look up, and you can see her being held by that one's tongue, and there's not a scarf around his neck, and going, this does not quite work. I'm sorry, it does not quite work. The also only is working because it's in the shadow and it's only barely being able to be seen. Don't get me wrong, for the most part, the Pokemon designs in this are spot on, but there's a couple moments where it just doesn't fit. There's just no way you can get that cartoonish, anime-ish design to actually work as a living, breathing thing in a human world. Yes. In a live action world. Some of them, they work perfectly fine, but others, it's like, no. I don't know if that was the best choice. But strangely enough, even though the Pokemon Company was convinced Mr. Mime would be one of those, I think he actually works the best. I don't know if that's because he's got the little Voight ball things for shoulder pads that I remember from dodgeball in gym class.
Yeah. Oh, dodgeball.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? That has the little design, the little hash mark design on it. He has those on it as his shoulder pads. Huh. You could see the little lines. Yeah. It's like, that wasn't in the original Ken Sugimori artwork, but I accept it. But anyway, yeah, that's my second dislike, is some of the Pokemon just do... I don't know if there was a way they could have really made it fit. Okay. Even though they did the best they could. And what we got does work. It's just some of them, you could have chose different things and it might have worked better. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. So my second dislike, our villain's plan is kind of weak. Let's be honest. So to me, it's very weak. Be like the fact to be like, he when we first meet him, he literally reveals his master plan, even though there's the misdirection. Oh, it's his son who's really doing everything, but it's really him. With the idea to be like, oh, like Pokemon and humanity be like have a special bond and be like can evolve into better things. It's like, okay, Mr. Wise Guy, I see where you're going with this. But the idea that's like, okay, so you're gonna make Pokemon and trainer become one fuse into one character.
That's Digimon Fusion.
Yeah, it's literally
Frontier. Digimon Frontier.
Yeah. Or Digimon
Season
Tamers.
Season 4 is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay. Yeah, literally. And this is more, it's like, okay, one, what's his name again? The
Clifford?
Clifford. Yeah. Clifford's great idea. Be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put this headset on my head, kind of like what happened to Josh over here.
Yeah.
Be like, and he puts it on Mewtwo, he becomes a Mewtwo, and he starts wreaking havoc. The only problem is he leaves his body exposed.
Yeah.
It's be like that one, be like, yeah, it's a okay of a plan, but then you start taking everybody over to become Pokemon. It's like, okay, that's a little weird. But then you leave your own body unsecured for anybody who can just walk up and just rip that device off your head. Be like, there's no, he seals away himself in a bunker or anything where no one can get to him. But it's just be like, I understand it's more for plot convenience, but it's a very weak plot.
Well, he also had a lot of faith in Mrs. Norman / Ditto to stop anyone who would come anywhere near him.
Right.
Until he could actually get his plan
going.
And admittedly, had Pikachu and Tim not been there and to stop him, his plan probably would have gone off without a hit.
Probably.
Even though I still fail to understand what combining all the Pokemon with all the humans, how that actually helps.
Yeah. Be like, oh,
Other
because
than
it brings everyone to their most powerful evolution. It's like, okay, but they're still the same Pokemon.
Yeah, and half of them aren't even like. How long does it take Harry to figure out how to do Pikachu's moves?
Yeah.
And everyone else is going to be lost for a little ways too, and then they're all going to come and attack you.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, as much as this Mewtwo is supposed to still be the Mewtwo from Pokemon the movie, I don't think he's quite that powerful in this, because he was able to complete that Mewtwo was in the movie was able to completely take over that Nurse Joy's mind, and completely erase everybody's memories. Yeah, I don't expect Roger in this movie while he's in Mewtwo to be able to pull that off. What we see of Mewtwo, the Mewtwo otherwise, doesn't look like he's capable of that either.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, he does erase Harry's memories when he puts them into Pikachu.
Is he erasing Harry's memories, or is that a byproduct of the willful combination of Harry and Pikachu's consciousness?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're literally creating a new person to be. You're creating a new consciousness by merging, so it makes sense that for this, I'm thinking too hard about this, admittedly, but the psychology of it to actually work. Now, in your case, I mean, R was obviously involved, so I mean, there was a little bit different. But
and plus, the thing about this, you brought up a very good point. The fact that the R itself does wear off in time, so
you only have a short amount of time to actually do it.
Yeah,
so there's a good chance that even with the parade, he only got about half the town took care of.
Yeah, exactly. So then your plan ultimately partially worked.
And I still don't know what advantage he gets from merging the humans with the Pokemon in the first place.
Exactly. Like what is the point of it? Apparently he wants like ultimate unification between the species.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see that is a very Pokemon villain thing to do, but it still was weird.
It was
in
weird.
This. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure how this works and what his ultimate end game is if he had succeeded at this event.
Yeah, and also the fact you look at when he's in the his Mewtwo, like the fact okay, Mewtwo apparently is a very powerful Pokemon. It can literally erase time.
He can't erase time.
Well, it does whatever the plot needs it to do, whatever. But
no, he's got certain limitations. But continue.
Okay, there again, I'm not as knowledgeable about Pokemon as everybody else, but the fact that like this Mewtwo is so powerful, it knows it can do all these fantastical things. Is what is it, a psychic
It is
Pokemon?
a psychic type.
Yes.
It's a psychic type. It can literally be like, Tim is about to take the headset off and literally force Tim to stop.
It's called telekinesis.
Yeah, telekinesis. Yes.
Technically, a lot of Pokemon can do that, but Mewtwo would be a lot stronger at it.
I understand for more like plot convenience that he's tied up with Detective Pikachu, that he can't, stop him in time. But I'm thinking, like, you're a telepath. You're a telepath, telekinetic. You can do this stuff in 3 seconds, but
here's the thing.
Yeah.
While merged, as we see with all the other Pokemon human connections, they aren't used to their bodies yet.
Yeah.
They can't do all the abilities that those Pokemon can do. It took till the end of the movie for even Pikachu to be able to pull off a Thunderbolt, the most easy move for a Pikachu to do.
Right.
Much less the not Electro Ball. That's not what that's called.
Well, he did use Electro Ball at one point.
Yeah, but
I think you're thinking of Volt Tackle.
Volt Tackle's the one I'm thinking of. The one that injures him at the same time.
Yeah.
He's able to pull that off once he figures out where that stuff is, but as the human consciousness is there, it's got to learn.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What we're seeing how to do that. He's just barely figured out how to do telekinesis.
That is
Mewtwo,
true. That is
in
so
reality.
True. Yeah.
He's got so many other things. And that's just me looking at the logic.
Yeah.
Had Tim come about 2 weeks later
into
all this mess, Mewtwo would have never been able to defeat Mewtwo at all.
Yeah, he would literally pull a Thanos and just snap.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just the logic in why our villain does what he does. Be like, there's some of it that makes sense, some of it doesn't make any sense.
I agree with you there, actually.
Yeah.
That's my second. It's like, so
that brings us to the end of the episode. So we need to give our final ratings for this movie. Josh, what is your final rating for Pokemon Detective Pikachu?
I'm going to give it a solid 8.5.
Okay.
It's like I said, it's a great movie. It's one of the best, if not the best, video game movies ever made. It's probably my favorite Pokemon movie. And if you're a Pokemon fan and you have not watched this yet for some reason, you need to go watch it. It's a must-watch for Pokemon fans. All I can really say.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to give it an 8. Like Josh said, it is like one of the very best video game adaptations made. The ironic thing, though, is it's that because it's actually an adaptation of the anime that the game that's also based on the game is why it's able to pull that off, I think. But at the same time, this is still, they're able to pull off these designs that are not technically possible in the real world. They're able to craft at least like semi-coherent story throughout most things. You're actually, while the whole thing with whether or not Pikachu is Tim's dad or not is easy to figure out early on, the rest of the mysteries, they are a surprise when they finally do get revealed. They don't just hand it to you. They give you plenty of ways to figure it out until you get there. But I thought it was very well done. It was a great adaptation. A lot of good Easter eggs in there if you're a Pokemon fan, but you don't need to know them to watch the movie and still enjoy it. So yeah, I'm giving it an 8.
I'm in the same sentiment as Drew. I'm giving it an 8. It's a really well done film, even though for someone like me who is not a Pokemon fan, I'm not as deep into the lore as my two established esteemed host and guest when it comes to Pokemon. But I overall really enjoyed this movie as a story, as a character development between Detective Pikachu and our main character, Tim. And like some of the development was very well done story wise. directorial. Like it was a great film. And even if you're not a Pokemon fan and you're just simply an animation fan or just a movie fan in general, I would definitely agree to go watch this. This is a really well done film. And it's sad at the current time we're not getting a sequel, which is kind of understandable in some ways. I hope they kind of continue this kind of this train of thought when it comes to making a Pokemon movie, and that would be fun to watch. And there again, throughout this entire episode of two guys who know Pokemon, be like it's been very educational talking about and learning more about this thing, which I'm primarily a Digimon fan, but hint, while we did the Digimon Tribe movies. So I really enjoyed with you guys, definitely getting all the information you have divulged throughout this entire episode has been very enlightening in so many ways. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's definitely an 8 for me.
That brings us to the end of another episode. Our next episode is
something with a doll.
I don't remember. And it's
Dirty.
to bring it up.
Ugly Dolls.
Ugly Dolls, a movie I know nothing about.
Yeah, me either. I'd be like, I remember we watched the trailer over it. I think last year. It wasn't last year. It was a couple.
It came
years.
out in 2019. So if we watched a trailer, it would have been either the second half of 2019 video after our very short hiatus when we had some technical issues.
Yes,
or we watched it beforehand. Hang on, I am looking up some trivia right quick.
All right,
because I didn't think to do that ahead of time.
No, we have not seen Ugly Dolls yet. Be like, I haven't seen Ugly Dolls yet.
Yeah, I've known nothing about it.
Have you seen it, Josh?
No. I know the movie that you're talking about. I remember seeing the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, I don't know about this one.
I've ran into a few people over the course of time and to be like, they have watched Ugly Dolls. And I was like, that was a pretty good film. That's what they said about it.
There's not a lot of trivia to go off of on this.
Is that who I think they're referencing in that one?
Who?
So-and-so third time voice acting in a theatrical film after Star and Trolls World Tour.
Kelly Clarkson?
Yes.
Yeah, this is what that says.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to watching, because it was one of those movies when we reviewed it, it's like, that looks interesting. It's a little weird, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Okay, here's the trivia for Ugly Dolls. I'm going to go with Ugly Dolls has made several cameos in previous family movies.
Really?
Name one.
Ugly Dolls in another movie.
In a movie that came before it.
Really?
It made cameos in movies that came before it. So just name one of them. You've got a bunch to pick from.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, that's going to bring us to the end of this episode. Do we have anything to add before we close out here?
No, this has been a very enlightening, very educational episode.
Okay, Josh, is there anything that anywhere we can find you on the internet for more of your journeys?
If I go on any more journeys, I might have to find a place to start putting them. I'll let y'all know that at some other point. You could follow my professional wrestling career with the CWC or ASW on YouTube, on the channel Alex Hollenbeck.
Okay.
HOLLENBECK.
Okay, interesting.
I didn't know you were an actual wrestler.
It's we do it on the video games.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I was about to say, be like, when did you start doing the, slamming people, Josh?
Oh, I would if I could, but neck issues keep me from doing that for real.
Oh, gotcha. All right, so you are
that
playing.
Is where my name comes from.
You're doing Let's Plays essentially.
I gotcha.
Yes, it's more when you see me, it's all computer done. It's
okay. So you're voice acting?
I don't know that.
Kind of. It's what you'll hear on there when you hear me is like commentating.
Okay.
Oh.
Although you won't hear me commentating my own matches because I can't commentate while I'm in the ring, obviously.
Right.
Unless he's a Mewtwo.
Yeah,
That would make it awkward. But no, he only got Eevee.
Yeah, that's
Of course,
true.
if before the thing separated, if he'd had gone to Espeon, which is also psychic type,
I mean, yeah, if I'd
then he could have. But then that would look that would look rather odd. Him wrestling as an Espeon in the middle of a
getting suplexed
professional
by
wrestling
a person.
Yeah,
Like
I'm not sure the Pokemon Company would approve of that.
Yeah, I don't think they would.
Anyway, that's going to bring us to the end. In the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
This is Josh.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photobin, to see his photography. His letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.